Hey, it's Gordon Lucas here, Program Manager for Embarcadero Technologies. Today I'm going to use Change Manager 5.1.1 and give a quick tour for all you InterBase and Firebird users out there that'll help you get up and running quickly. Our new release adds support for InterBase 2007, 2009, and Firebird 1.5 and 2.0, in addition to our existing platforms, Oracle, SQL Server, Sybase, and DB2 for LUW. First thing you're going to see when you launch Change Manager is the welcome page. Here we have some quick start guide. So for example, you can work with schema objects, database data, and configuration settings. And for each of these we've got a listing of tasks that you can accomplish. For example, monitor and report on changes. And then you're going to click on Get Started, and it's going to open up a cheat sheet to walk you through all of the steps involved in accomplishing that task. So these are a great way to learn Change Manager and get up and running real quick. And you can reopen that dialog from Change Manager Welcome Dialog in the Help menu. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to capture an InterBase schema archive. So Change Manager has a schema archive job which you can create, File New. So I'm going to call this Capture InterBase Schema. And you can drag and drop from the Data Source Explorer over here on the left any of your data sources. So I'm going to use my local InterBase. To create a new data source, simply right click on Manage Data Sources and create a new data source and follow the wizard through. That's going to help you keep a library of connections to your servers so you can reuse them in jobs. Alright, on the Refinements tab, this is where we can select the objects and the instances that we want to capture. So for example, if I don't want to capture foreign keys or check constraints, I can uncheck them, and I can also select individual instances. So for example, I can select a subset of the tables. For this archive, let's capture everything. And for the options, we have an option to extract the DDL right away with the job, or we can load the results later and extract our DDL. So I'm going to extract our DDL to multiple files, and I'm going to run the job. This is going to capture all of the schema objects on our server, and it's going to put them in our job as version 1. So you can see all of the objects, and if you click on one, you can see the DDL for that object. And when I save the job, it names my version 1 results, and under my data source there's schema archive jobs. Here's the job, and here's version 1 of that job. So I have access. When I run it again, I'll see version 2, and when I run it again, I'll see version 3. On the History tab, you'll see a listing of all the versions, and you can reopen the results for a previous version and report on it. Next thing I'm going to do is connect to my live database. Let's drop one of the foreign keys. Next thing I'm going to do is a schema comparison job. So I select File New, Schema Comparison Job. I'm going to set my local InterBase as my source and as my target, and I'm going to click this Use an Archive option. That's going to select the archive that we just captured. So when I run this job, it's going to compare what's in the archive with what's on the live data source, and it should pick up that we dropped that foreign key. So we had a 96% match. When I look at the results, I can see that we had one create, and that's because this foreign key existed only in the source, which was our archive, so it's going to create it on the target. And here's the DDL. And if I generate a synchronization script, that's going to update all of my objects on my target to match the objects on my source. Alright, so I'm going to give you a quick tour of our data options. We have a data comparison job, and this encompasses comparing and synchronizing data, automatically moving data, and masking data. I'm going to mask some data from my local InterBase data source to one of my Firebird data sources. All of our data jobs are cross-platform, so you can move and compare data between SQL Server, Oracle, DB2, Sybase, Firebird, and InterBase. And just like the schema job, you work across the top. There's a bunch of options, and we're going to turn on automatically synchronize. That's going to give us access to the masking rules. And what automatically synchronize does is it deletes all the data in the target and moves the data from the source over. The mapping page lets you pair up tables and columns. So for our customer table, let's assign masking rules. We're going to shuffle the last name, and we're going to randomize the telephone number. So when I run that job, it's going to first confirm that I want to drop the data on the target, which I do, and then it's going to replace it with the data on the source, applying our masking rules. Okay, so once that's done, I'm going to turn off automatically synchronize, and that's going to make it a data compare job. So when I run the job, I'm going to review the results. So I can click on View, and I can see in my customer table that 348 rows didn't match, and I can look at the data. So for example, you can see that the last names were shuffled, which means that each entry in a last name was moved to a different row. So Batiste moved somewhere else and was replaced with Temp. Philpott moved somewhere else and was replaced by Romano. And the telephone numbers, you can see we assigned the randomization rule. So what it did was it just flipped each digit to another digit. If you have credit card numbers or phone numbers or SIN numbers or postal codes or zip codes, the randomization is going to preserve your format. Change Manager jobs can be automated by the command line. So if I save this job, I can click this little button up here, Generate Command Line, and that's going to walk me through creating a script. And I can choose between Windows batch files and XML files, and if I'm on Linux, I got a shell script option. These jobs can be scheduled with your favorite scheduler by calling the command line, and if you want to know when these jobs run, each job also has a notification tab. This is where I can enable email notifiers and I can enable file system notifiers. Alright, so that was Change Manager in a whirlwind. Thanks for watching. My name is Gordon Lucas again, and for more information about Change Manager, visit www.embarcadero.com, where you can get a free 14-day evaluation at embarcadero.com/downloads, and for sales, it's sales@embarcadero.com. Thanks so much for watching.